Hey there, this is Prentice, and in a previous video we talked about a little shoulder mobility exercise that you can do to take your shoulder joint through all of its ranges of motion, building a little dynamic flexibility, mobility, and strength. What we're going to do is take a look at the lower body today and just a couple of simple tips that you can use for your kettlebell swings, or just in general picking something up from the ground with a healthy back. The first thing that I want you to remember is during all of this we want a neutral spine. Now this is for 99% of us out there. Now I'll concede that there are athletes and people, athletes who take up special sports which require you to pick things up with a rounded back. For the majority of us, we don't want to start there. If that's something that you're interested in, you'll train specifically for that. But back to the neutral spine. So what I want you to visualize is that your pelvis is a basin. And this basin is filled with water. We want to dump water out of the front. So on my website, or anyone else who uses this sort of terminology, we're tilting anteriorly when we tilt the pelvis, when we drop water out of the front of the pelvis. On the other side of that, we can tilt posteriorly or dump water out the back. So what I like to do is, so that you understand neutral, and excuse me if I get out of camera shot, but I'm going to practice this on a mat. Palms up, and going to tilt posteriorly, spill water out the back onto the floor. And as you're doing that, I want you to brace your abs and tighten your pelvic floor muscles. And we're going to arch the back, and in this position, when we're arching the back, we're tilting anteriorly, okay? And find some place in between, and then really brace those abs, okay? So let me show you, just in case that didn't get in the camera view. I'm going to tilt posteriorly, dump water out the back. Dump water out anteriorly, let the water spill out of the front. And then we find neutral, then we find the neutral position. And from there, brace the abs. That way, I know that my back is safe, and probably your back will be safe as well. The next thing we want to do is work on how we're going to hinge the hips. Now, this is a little bit detailed. You know, when you want to go pick up something off the ground, you just walk over to it and pick it up. But for the sake of our training, we're going to be a little more specific, pay a little more attention to detail. I don't want to drop the shoulder down, but what I want you to do is sit back. In fact, let's do this. Grab your rear end, grab a whole handful of rear end, and push back into your hands. We just worked on that neutral spine cue, so keep a neutral spine. When you get to a position where you feel like you really need to arch your back, or you're losing that neutral spine, just stand up. And we're going to use this as a mobility exercise. We're going to sit back, push that rear end back, back, and then stand up. Now, notice my head. I'm not keeping this rigid. It's my goal for all of us to be athletes, so athletic posture. We're in here, where eyes are on the horizon. We're looking at our targets. If we're playing sports, we're looking at all of those visual cues. So, push back. Pushing my hand full of bottom into the pushing back, keeping the eyes on the horizon. Now in this position, I may feel a gentle stretch in the hamstrings. You may call this a load, but notice, straight spine. And then stand straight up. Now we've all done planks before. If not, I'll shoot a video about it. Just leave your comments below if you're not familiar with a plank. But when I stand up, I want to get this abdominal brace, squeeze those glutes, drive the feet through the floor. Now I'm standing on the ground, but I want to create a depression with my feet in the floor, tighten the quad muscles, or think about pulling the kneecaps up, standing nice and tall. That's all you have to do. So sit back, head on a swivel, looking at the horizon, and standing straight up. Let me face you, head on a swivel, looking at the horizon. I may need to go left, or my other left. I need to go right. I need to go left. This is our athletic posture. This is where we want to play our sports. And then we'll stand up. So once you get that, once you feel comfortable with that, and you're able to maintain a neutral spine, we can go ahead and load this. I'm going to take this bell here. Now, let me turn on an angle so you can see me. I'm going to load back. Push that rear end back. Neutral spine, head on a swivel looking at the horizon. Now to go down and pick this up. I may have to bend my knees a little bit, that's okay. Now, what I want to do is get my shoulders set. So, I'm going to imagine I'm corkscrewing my arms into the socket. I'm going to rotate so that the pits of the elbows point straight ahead, and I'm going to try to crush this handle here. And then stand straight up, power straight up. One more detail. Once I break the handle, get the pits of my elbows pointing straight ahead, I'm going to move my rear end up and down until I feel a big load on the back of these, on my hamstrings here. And then stand straight up. Get into that plank position and hold it. Make sure I'm not leaking anywhere. Hold nice tight posture. Okay, so that's it. Try to find your neutral spine. Remember, water in and out the front, out the back of the pelvic basin. Brace those abs like you're taking a punch. Tighten your pelvic floor muscles like you're trying not to go to the toilet on yourself. And find the best position for your shoulders by crushing the handle, getting the pits of those elbows forward, loading those hamstrings up, and then stand straight up. Okay, the next time I'll show you a little bit of the swing. The next time we get back to this, I'll show you a little bit of the swing, and train smart. If you have any comments, leave comments in the comments section. If you're new, please go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you soon.